Well, look at that. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Tampa Bay Lightning striking for the first time in this series. 6-2 the final. No sweep. We will not have a sweep in the Stanley Cup Final thanks to this win by Tampa Bay on their home ice. Colorado, not their best outing. Probably the worst so far this postseason. They had to pull their goalie in this one. Our analyst is standing by to break this all down. Well, here with us, our CBS Sports hockey analyst, Alan May. Game 3 was so much different, Alan, than what we saw there in Game 2 from Colorado. What did you see was the biggest difference here on the ice?
Well, I saw a Tampa team that was, instead of playing not to lose, they played to win. They forced their hand at everything. I thought it started from the defense out. They got some good news on that first goal that was called back by the Avalanche, even though they ended up giving up the first goal that counted to the Avalanche of Gabriel Landeskog. But when I look at it, they kept the Colorado Avalanche to the perimeter tonight. And they own, and on the opposite zone, Tampa owned the inside, the interior of the ice in front of Darcy Kemper. So when you look at how the game was played, it was a heavier pace, it was more physical, it was more direct, it was a quicker attack to get pucks to the net. And there was a lot of confusion by Colorado with that amount of speed that Tampa applied tonight. So I just look at, the home juice that Tampa received. What is that, 9-10 games in a row at home now that they've won throughout these playoffs? That's an incredible streak. So I think the home cooking really helped tonight, and they imposed their will. They played their game, and that's kind of what Tampa's been doing all throughout the playoffs.
Alan, there are losses and there are losses, right? And there are different kinds of losses. And if this had been a 3-2 overtime, all right, fine, Tampa at home, they got right. It might feel different than this 6-2, which actually kind of felt even worse than 6-2. How much does this damage the psyche of Colorado, and how much does this boost the psyche of the two-time defending champs? Or are you of the opinion that a loss is a loss, it really doesn't matter how it comes down?
I'm kind of all three when you look at it. So, you have to look at it, because I want to look at it from everyone's point of view. So Colorado's, they're throwing it out. It's a loss, and they're not going to lose it because they have done so well in these playoffs. They've been on a mission. I didn't think some of their top guys were ready to play tonight, so those guys will have a lot more pressure on them. Meanwhile, Tampa, it's a huge boost. Everyone wrote us off. So, everyone in the sports world, myself included, really going into this game, I wasn't sure. I thought they would eke out a win. I didn't think they'd be so dominant. So they did an incredible job. Now, but you still, it's one win for them. It's one loss for the Avalanche. So when you look at it, you just got to simplify everything as a coaching staff and as a team, and you only worry about the next game. So it's not a seventh game, the next game. It's not the fourth game of the series. It's not the dagger game. It's just one game. Now it's 2-1. You're only worried, each of these teams, about how you perform in the next match. And both of these teams, Tampa's got a lot of good things that they did, that they worked on, that they really thought about from getting spanked so bad in Colorado. And Colorado's got to look at, what can we do different? Cale Makar, Devon Taves were not that good tonight. Nathan McKinnon was a perimeter player tonight. So when I look at all of that, those three names, those guys got to be much, much better in the next game. But will Tampa allow them? I thought Tampa did an incredible job of being physical, of being defensive, and letting the puck do the work tonight.
This was only the third loss of the postseason for Colorado, which is also just hard to imagine that they have sort of cruised their way to this point. But for Tampa, they might have lost Nikita Kucherov. We saw him injured in the third period. Go back to the dressing room. We're still waiting for an update. But Alan, what kind of loss would Kucherov be for Tampa if he doesn't come back in this series?
Well, you know how hockey works. You're not going to get an update, and he's probably not going to skate the next time. But he was incredible tonight with his line with Palat and Stamkos. It would be a huge blow, because you look at the two most dangerous weapons that they've had throughout the course of the season: Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, and probably one of the quietest 100-plus point seasons is Steven Stamkos. But Kucherov is so scary on the power play. They finally got that going tonight. But he does so many good things with the puck. He pushes the defense back of the Avalanche. They get scared, so they give up the blue line, and he's able to make plays. He gets below the goal line, throws it back to the pointer in the slot. No one ever knows where he's going to fling the puck. So it would be a huge blow, but I think we have to wait about 48 hours, not quite 48 hours, to see what the status of Nikita Kucherov is. But I would bet at this time of year, He's going to do everything he can to be back. But remember, it was last year that everyone was complaining about Tampa had these players that didn't play all season. All of a sudden they came back and they were incredible in the playoffs. And his injury was a hip injury. So hopefully it's not that. It was very awkward looking. I know that I'm too old to ever let that happen to my body again. But Nikita Kucherov, he is something else. He just wowed me so many times tonight. So as a hockey fan, a guy that loves this game, I definitely want him back in the lineup next game. So there's no excuses for anybody.
Alan, the Avs have played 2 goalies in these playoffs, and Darcy Kuemper got pulled and gave up some bad goals. Game 4, who's your guy in the net if you're in charge of Colorado?
Darcy Kuemper, if he's healthy, 100%. He's the guy that got you there all season long. He's been the guy throughout the playoffs, and then he was injured, and Francouz came in. And I've always said this, your backup's always better than your starter until he's your starter. So you want Darcy Kuemper to be in net. You definitely want him to be the guy. He let in a leaky goal by Cirelli on the first one. The Paul goal went through him under the arm. Those are bad goals. So when you look at, you don't want goals to go through you. You don't want them to go under you. The first one went under, 5-hole, bad goal. And the third one by Nick Paul, that went under the arm. So that was a through goal. So those were 2 bad goals. And then the one that he got pulled on from Stamkos, a lot of people were trying to text me and tell me that was a bad one. That was a guy that rose his level of play up again, once again, in Steve Stamkos. And that was to the post, under the bar. That's an excellent goal, in my opinion. No one's stopping that one.
You were saying to us, Alan, that you think this is the worst loss for Colorado this postseason, and it's because of the way Tampa played the game. Looking ahead to game forward, who can carry over this momentum, you think? Can Colorado get right, or is the momentum now on Tampa's side?
Tampa did so many things wrong in game 2. They tried to skate the puck out of the zone. They're not fast enough. So tonight, they moved the puck. They threw the puck up ice, and they scored goals in transition by moving the puck. Little quick passes. The more quick passes you can make, the better it is. You're looking at these highlights here. Those were all great quick passes. That was a horrible goal by Kuemper. That's the one that went under his arm. And this one here by Pat Maroon, that's not a good goal because he gives up the post. He's got to hug that old school. This one, Francouz, it's through traffic, redirects. I give that to the goal scorers every time. Never a bad goal. But I look at Tampa, what they have to do is continue to let the puck do the work, move their legs, but don't sit back too much. But once again, you have to keep the Colorado Avalanche to the perimeter. They did such an incredible job on Nathan MacKinnon tonight. He had about 6 shots, but they were all from the outside. When you look at the heat map of the shots in this game, all the coloring by Tampa was dark and bold from the slot, from the top of the circles in front of the net. And you look at Tampa, it was all from the outside. So Colorado, they've got to find a way to get to the inside. Tampa has to continue to use that size. That nastiness that they've learned how to play with the last 3 years. They've got to continue to use that, and they've got to stay disciplined. They cannot go to the penalty box over and over. They've got to make sure that they play a 5-on-5 ground and pound game, and if they can continue to do that, they can make this a 2-2 series.
All right, we always say it's not a series till the home team loses, because if the home team just keeps winning, we're at Game 7 starting the 3rd period, and whoever gets it done gets it done. All we've seen so far is everybody just defend their building and their home ice. What's your series pick now that it's 2-1 Colorado, but Game 4 on home ice for the Lightning?
I'm still Colorado in this series right at this point, and I'm ready to change my mind at any second because I've believed in Tampa and what they've done and the lessons they've learned. And they've got a lot of scar tissue. You know, they've had a lot of hangovers and hang-ups from the way they played over the past years before they won the Cup. Colorado's been punked early in the playoffs, and they haven't had as much heartbreak as Tampa. Tampa's going to lean on that and those experiences that they've had. But once again, I thought tonight was going to be an eked-out victory for Tampa. I thought it was going to be a 1-goal game. I didn't think it was going to be a thrashing like this. So I'm expecting Tampa now to win the next game and then Colorado to go back home and bring the juice in the Mile High City.
There you go, Al May. You're the best. Appreciate your thoughts and the analysis as, Lightning show, heart of a champion. They're going for 3 straight, and now they're back in the series down 2-1 with Game 4 at Amalie.
Talk to you soon, guys, and I'm looking for Game 7.
There you go. Well, this is how it would happen, right? So Tampa's at home. Then they'll go to Colorado. That'll be Friday, and then 6 and 7 right now are if necessary, but if Tampa can win one more game, Game 6 will be necessary, and maybe it'll be 3-3, and you'll get one of the greatest things you can have in sports, Game 7 NHL hockey. And how about if you get overtime? And it's just whoever scores wins the cup, and whoever doesn't, well, doesn't.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.